Hey guys, it's ChronoFury and Minecraft has just been released for 1.16.3 and that's why I'm going to be showing you how to install Optifine for Minecraft version 1.16.3. Optifine has just been updated, it's time to install it. I'm going to show you guys how to download and install it as well, and be sure to stick around till the end of the video because I'm going to be showing you guys the best settings for Optifine in order to maximize and boost your FPS in Minecraft. So before we get into the installation tutorial here, be sure to drop a like on the video, consider subscribing because I upload a wide variety of Minecraft content on my channel, and I'm thinking of doing more Minecraft mod reviews as well. Not just installation tutorials, but also mod reviews. Let's get started anyway, guys. So first thing you want to do here is you want to head to optifine.net. Link is down in the description below. So it'll take you to this page here, which is the official Optifine website where you can download Optifine from. You just want to click on downloads. And over here you can see, oh, you only see 1.16.2, but just click preview versions and you can see that Optifine has been updated for 1.16.3 over here. So you just want to click on download and just wait a couple of seconds here. And there should be a button here once it's ready, and you will click skip and it'll take you to this link. And then all you need to do is just click this download link here. And you can see at the bottom left hand corner, I'm downloading the jar file right now. So what you want to do is you want to keep the jar file. So once you have downloaded the jar file, you want to head over to where you have downloaded it. In my case, it's the downloads folder. You want to double click on this Optifine 1.16.3 jar file, and it should launch this Optifine installer here. Now I'm just going to close it. If you guys don't actually see that, what you need to do, and if it launches into WinRAR or something like that, like an archive file, what you want to do is you want to right click open with Java. And that will launch the same installer as well. So that should fix any problems that you guys might have. And what you want to do here is you just want to click install and just wait a couple of seconds and it should say Optifine is successfully installed. Now what you can do right now is you can start Minecraft and you can see that Optifine has been installed. So what you need to do is you need to head over to your Minecraft launcher now. And over here, you can see there's a profile that you can select that says Optifine 1.16.3. So you just want to make sure you select this one. And you want to hit on play, and again wait a couple of seconds for Minecraft to actually launch here. Okay guys, so once you've launched Minecraft, you guys can see at the bottom left hand corner it should say Minecraft 1.16.3 modded. That means you have successfully installed Optifine correctly. And if I were to head over to a random single player world here, and if you immediately hit F3, give me a second here, if I hit F3, you guys can see at the top left hand corner it should say 1.16.3 Optifine. That once again is another indication that you have installed Optifine correctly. And now I'll be showing you guys what are the best settings to tweak in Optifine in order to get the maximum FPS boost. So if you guys click on escape, click on options, video settings, you guys can see that there are way more video settings than there used to be before you have installed Optifine and after you have installed Optifine. More settings here that you can play around with. Now the first one, the most important one probably, is actually visual quality, which is graphics. Now, I recommend leaving this on fast if you don't have a good computer because the graphics will be of a lower quality and therefore your FPS will be much higher. But if you guys have a decent computer like mine, like I'm using a GTX 1080 here as a graphics card, so I can switch over to fancy and I will have no issues with my FPS here. You can see I'm getting like 300 FPS, which is pretty crazy. If you guys are even struggling to get like 60 FPS, then I would recommend switching this over down to fast. So that way you guys can have a more positive Minecraft experience without any lag at all. So next setting that you can play around with here is smooth lighting. And personally, I've noticed that it doesn't really have a huge impact on FPS. So I would just recommend leaving this on maximum because it looks pretty good. And if you switch it off, actually, I don't really notice any FPS increase, or if the FPS actually increase, it's a really marginal increase. So I usually just leave it on maximum. But again, if you guys are struggling to get that extra few bits of FPS, then you might want to switch this setting off. Now these two settings here have a major impact on FPS. The first one here is render distance. I have it on default at 16, which is the far render distance in Minecraft. And I would recommend not going below 8. 8 I would recommend as the minimum, because if you go below 8, right, you wouldn't be able to see that far out in the Minecraft world. And again, it will negatively impact your Minecraft experience when you can't see more than a few chunks ahead of you, right? So I would recommend leaving this on 8 if you guys have a slightly weak computer, right? If you guys don't have a good computer, then leave it on 8. If you guys have a better computer, then you might want to try 16 as the optimal render distance here. Okay, next thing here is maximum frame rate. This one actually has a big impact on your FPS. If by default you have it on VSync, or you have it on a random setting, like let's say I have it on 60 FPS, guys. Basically what this means, if I were to hit F3 here, it means that my FPS cannot go above 60. You can see at the top left hand corner, it says 59. And that's really bad, guys, because you don't want there to be a cap on your FPS, right? So you want to go ahead and switch this maximum FPS setting all the way up over into unlimited territory. This basically means that there is no cap on FPS, and therefore you are getting the maximum FPS that you possibly can, which in my case is currently at 400. Pretty crazy, right? Yeah. So that has a huge impact on FPS. Make sure you set this over to unlimited. Now, dynamic lights, I would recommend switching off. I personally don't really care for dynamic lights. Basically, it just means when you walk around with a torch, it will illuminate the area around you. If you guys care about that, then you can switch it on. But this will have a negative impact on the FPS, and it's a pretty big negative impact on the FPS actually, if you switch this on. So I recommend switching this off if you don't have a good computer. So the next setting here is quality, and if you guys click on quality, you will see this menu here. And I wouldn't recommend touching any of these settings because they don't have a noticeable impact on the FPS. Even these minimap levels and minimap type doesn't really have much of an FPS impact. So I'll just leave it on default and you guys should be good to go. For details, however, some of these settings do have an impact on the FPS here. One thing is clouds. So if you guys don't care for clouds, I personally don't really care for clouds. But if you guys like the look of clouds, then you want to switch over to fast. Because if you switch it over to fancy, you guys can see that the clouds are more complicated and therefore take more effort to render. So that will decrease your FPS a little. But if you guys don't care for clouds at all, just go ahead and switch it off. It'll definitely improve your FPS. Next setting you want to play around with is the tree setting. This one actually has a huge impact on the FPS here, especially because it modifies the textures of the leaves of the trees in Minecraft. So let's say if I were to switch this over to default, you guys can see it looks really bad. Like the leaves texture just looks really awful, and that's because I have my graphics setting over to fast. If I were to have it over to fancy, you can see the leaves are back to normal. But if you have it over on fast, then yes, the texture of the leaves will look really bad. That is why I recommend going over to this details here and changing the tree setting over to smart. So that way you still get some FPS boost and the trees look okay. Although of course the trees would still look better if you leave it over on fancy. That would obviously be the best look. But if you guys are struggling with FPS, then smart will do. And as for these options like sky, stars, sun and moon, if you guys don't care for the sky, again switch it off. Otherwise I would just leave it on because I personally like the look of skies and stars and all that. And again, it doesn't really have much of an impact on the FPS, so I would just leave those settings that you saw earlier, these settings as it is. The only settings that you want to touch here are clouds and trees mainly. So next we move on to performance. This menu is pretty simple. Just go ahead and switch everything on because it will help to render things out faster and therefore increase your FPS. So make sure you have everything on like I do here. So the next menu here is animations, and these settings do have an impact on the FPS. And you guys might be wondering, why not just switch everything off? Wouldn't this be the greatest improvement to your FPS? And you guys would be correct, except that you wouldn't be able to see any dripping water or lava, which might negatively impact your Minecraft experience. You guys wouldn't be able to see potion particles and any of these animations here. So I would recommend actually leaving everything on, even though it does drag your FPS down a little. But for a good compromise, I would recommend switching particles over to decreased. So that way you are still able to see some particles. So this will help you out if you are playing Minecraft PvP, because if you are playing on a PvP server like Hypixel, you need to be able to see potion particles and all of these. It will really help you in your PvP journey, right? Because if you have everything off, you won't be able to see potion particles and all of that. So that will negatively impact your PvP experience. So I think a good compromise is a decrease on the particles, because if you switch it over to minimal, you won't be able to see any particles at all. So the best option here is decreased. And last but not least, we have the other setting here, and these settings don't really impact your FPS at all. So I would recommend just leaving it as it is. So that's basically it, guys. I hope this video has helped you guys out. Hopefully you guys benefited from the best settings as well, and you guys are getting a good FPS after installing Optifine. If you have any questions or issues, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll respond to you guys as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Check out the other Minecraft videos on my channel. I have Minecraft documentaries, Minecraft parodies, and I plan to do more Minecraft mod reviews as well, not just installation videos, but also mod reviews. So you guys should go ahead and check that out if you haven't already done so. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.